وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. بعد. Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyya said in إعلام الموقعين, he says some of the parables of the Quran are the basis of foundations in the Sharia. They mean usul, principles, qawa'id of the Sharia, because of the parables Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put down. He said including the interpretation of the dreams, and that is how people understand the Quran properly. When we were studying about ahkam al-ru'a, the ahkam of interpreting the dreams, one of the most important foundations we should understand is that the true and correct interpretation of dreams should be taken from revelation from Allah Ta'ala only, from the Quran and the Sunnah, and in particular from the Quran, because throughout the Quran Allah Ta'ala has given us many parables, and the interpretation of dreams is based upon parables of what you're shown in the dream, and the symbolisms of those certain things that you might see in there, which are found in the Quran. So Allah Ta'ala has given us parables in the Quran in order for us to understand. So those parables contain meaning. And when you see those similar symbolisms from the parables in the Quran in your dream, that is for you to understand what the dream is really about. So that's where the first source that we go to. Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Ibrahim, verse 24 to 25. It says, أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ ضَرَبَ اللَّهُ مَثْلًا كَلِمَةً طَيِّبَةً كَشَجَرَةٍ طَيِّبَةٍ أَصْلُهَا ثَابِتٌ وَفَرْعُهَا فِي السَّمَاءِ. He said, have you not seen how Allah gives the parable of a good word like a good tree? Its roots, foundations are firm, and its branches reach the sky. تؤتي أكلها كل حين بإذن ربها, producing its fruits all the time with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس لعلهم يتذكرون. And Allah, He gives these parables for mankind, for people, so that they can remember, reflect, so they can understand. So Allah Ta'ala has given us in these ayat, explained to us that the foundations of the deen, the parable for us to understand how the foundations of the deen are like the foundations of a tree, the roots of a tree, gripped to the earth, deep, embedded, so firm, unmovable. You can cut the tree down, but you can't pull out the roots. It's not as easy as that. And from those roots, you have branches going out to the heavens, with fruits, with benefit coming out from there as well. This is the way the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the kalima of tawheed, the way it's been described, the way it has these foundations. And this is the word like what Ibn Qayyim said about the parables being, source for the foundations of the deen. And why did Allah mention after that? Why does Allah give these parables to you? So you can understand, so you can comprehend and reflect and contemplate. So when Allah Ta'ala gives you good dreams, they are a parable for you to reflect about, to think about, to understand, based upon those parables. So the sciences of the dream, it is a divine knowledge. It's not just make it up as you go along. It's not just take a best guess. It's not just you saw so and so. Well, I think trees mean this. I think fruits mean that. I think what else could it mean, akhi? That's not how you understand dreams. Sometimes the symbolism is the complete opposite of what you think. Complete opposite. We could take it from revelation. The sciences of dreams are divine sciences. Okay, it's a matter of revelation. So we take it from the revelation only. And it is ahkam, which is taught and it is learnt. So people teach it and people learn it, they study it. Okay? And it's also something which is very rare. Okay? It's very rare. Although, the science is rare, although the task is very common. Many people, they interpret dreams from the misguided, from the ignorant. People don't know what they're doing. But it's very rare for people to be particularly professional or adept at that. And that's why it's very important for people to know their own place, to know their own level. Okay? Even though we might study today the dreams, at the end of the day, you don't go home and start interpreting everybody's dream. Okay, because understand your own place. Understand, well, maybe just because I studied the topic 2 days, with Abu Baraa, doesn't mean that I become, expert on dreams. Okay, certain people will become professional, become really expert. People like the Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam. Okay, people like Yusuf alayhi salam. They were known. Some of the Sahaba were experts in understanding the dream. Some more than others. Okay, Aisha radiallahu anha, she was one of those companions that used to interpret dreams and understand them. Okay, people like Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. Although, even though you see sometimes Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, there's one hadith where a man came to the Prophet ﷺ with a dream, and Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, "Let me try it. Let me explain it." So he explained it, and he gave a different interpretation of different symbols. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "You were right on this one. You were right on this one, but you were wrong about that one." So even Abu Bakr as-Siddiq can make a mistake. So don't think that it's just anybody can just do it. It's not that easy. Among the tabi'een, some of the famous ones were people like Ibn Sirin, rahimahullah, Sa'id ibn Musayyab as well, rahimahullah. They were known for that. Now, among the ulama as well, there are some differences of opinion regarding who should study this topic. And even some of them, they said it cannot be studied. Okay, I mean, either you have it or you don't. You either have a talent for it or you don't. And some of them said, no, you can be taught, it can be studied. But some of them, they said, we don't allow just anybody to study that science or to teach that science. And they say that, that some of the ulama said, only the one Allah taught it. Allah gave him that knowledge, sparked it in him, and He grants it to whoever He wishes. Only they are the ones that are able to interpret it. While other people, they can study and study and study it, but never actually reach it, never actually achieve it. So this is where the difference of opinion is. However, what we say about this difference is that the original rules for all Sharia sciences is that they are learnt and studied, and they can be taught to others as well. Okay, so then there will be some people who become experts at it, good at it, and they are able to teach others. We don't say it's only a spark from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but like any other science, it's something which can be taught, can be studied, can be learnt. Okay. However, in general, all we say, the knowledge is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the people, and He gives it to whoever He wishes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one who teaches us, the one who gives us guidance, and nobody can really get knowledge except through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and through the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Baqarah. Okay, He says in Surah Baqarah, He said, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. He said, fear Allah, and Allah is the one who teaches you. And Allah, He knows or has knowledge about all matters. So the one who teaches us is Allah. It's not we just teach ourselves. It is from the mercy and the fadl of Allah that we're able to learn anything at all. That's why sometimes you see people, they can read a book, and they can read it over and over again, and yet nothing sticks. Some people, they can read the same hadith as you, and it's so as plain as day for you. But for whatever prevention in their heart, or whatever prevention from Allah, that knowledge is prevented from reaching them. This is a topic we can study another day, inshallah. Mawani'ul hidayah, the preventions of hidayah. What things could there be that prevent hidayah from reaching you? And it's something we need to study, because we want to make sure we don't have any of them. Because if we have some of that, it means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could, it could be a block from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaching us and giving us any guidance. So the one who wants to study this topic, like this ayah said, fear Allah, wattaqullah, wa yu'allimukum Allah, and Allah is the one who will teach you. So the one who wants to study the topic must fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He must have taqwa. Means he must abide by His commands. He must be the one who obeys Allah. He fulfills his duties, fara'id. All of them, not just the salah and the fasting, da'wah, jihad, bay'ah, everything. The one who disobeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's not the one who fears Allah. He stays away from all the muharramat. He doesn't rise up and rebel against the Muslim ruler. It's very important matters for us to understand. So, Imam al-Sa'di, he said, fearing Allah is a means to obtain knowledge. And that's what the Sahaba, they used to believe, they used to say. And in particular, those who used to learn the science of interpreting dreams. So, ilm al-ta'bir, the science of explaining or expressing the meanings of the dreams. Okay, this is the science on the Sharia knowledge we're talking about, and it's a rewardable science. It's something which is a reward. The one who engages in it, with knowledge, not out of ignorance, but the one who engages that sincerely, making ijtihad for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will have reward for that. He'll be rewarded for it, and he'll be rewarded for studying it, and rewarded for teaching it. Okay. And we will always understand that the methodology for interpreting dreams will be with the ulama. Okay, will be with the ulama. It's one of those matters which are not known by necessity. It's not expected that the layman knows how to interpret the dreams. Generally, they should refer to the ulama about it, not to the lay people. The knowledge about dreams, they're going to be obtained by one of three. Okay, one of three, or really a combination of three, not one of three, sorry, rather a combination of the following three. Number one, wahi, revelation, inspiration, well, maybe the hidayah, Allah sparks it in you, or referring to the text. The second one, al-farasa, shrewdness. You need to have a certain level of shrewdness to be able to pick out and notice certain things about the dream, notice certain symbols, and notice how that links to the parables in the Quran, how it links to the parables of the revelation. And the third one, ta'aleem, teaching, studying. It needs to come in this way. And especially because there are many matters or many symbolism or symbols of the dreams which have been specifically mentioned by a hadith. There's no way for you to know about it except reading the hadith. So you need to read a hadith, you need to study and to look into those hadith about dreams. It's not just enough just to learn the usul, but when it could be you hear a dream and you don't respond to it for a long time because you need to go out and check, are there any hadith about this type of dream? It's not as simple as, I think it means that, akhi. And I heard people, many times people do that. Facebook happens a lot. On social media, somebody puts up a dream, and they'll ask me, and I don't answer. I'll be silent the whole time because I don't like, commenting just in case. It's so easy to get it wrong. But 100 people will answer. 100 people will rush to answer. Oh, akhi, find out it wasn't even an akhi, it was an ukhti. It's even worse. It's a completely different meaning. Oh, you're going to get married to 4 wives. Akhi, she's a woman. She can't get married 4 times. Okay, so don't just make up interpretation. So if you want to consider, sometimes you need to consider, that if you want to learn this topic, you need to have knowledge about the Quran. Be familiar with the Quran, familiar with the ayat and how Allah Ta'ala give different parables. Because if you don't know, you're not familiar with the Quran, then you will miss it completely. You'll miss the symbol. You won't see where is it in the Quran because you never read it. You never spent time with it. You never recite it. Or if you recite it, you could memorize it, but you never understood it. So how is that going to benefit you with the science? So you need to be familiar with the Quran. And you need to be familiar with the Sunnah. With the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In particular, those, that large body of ahadith about the dreams. And of course, you need to be able to verify which of those hadith are sahih, which one are da'if, because you can't base it upon a weak hadith. It's about revelation, not about doubt or conjecture. So this is why you can see how immediately this is a topic really for the ulama, because it requires that deep understanding and grounding in the knowledge. You also need to have an understanding of the Arabic language. You need to have understanding of the Arabic language, because those parables Allah Ta'ala has revealed, they were revealed in the Arabic language. They were not revealed in English. Okay, and with all my due respect to Yusuf Ali and to Muhsin Khan and to all the others, their words and their explanation will never be like the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Will never. Nobody can reach that. Okay, so the parables in the Arabic need to be understood in Arabic in order for you to really understand, does this link with that dream or not? Is what he saw, can it really be interpreted, be extracted from those texts, those verses, or those hadith or not? Are they the same or are they not the same? Sometimes there could be a subtle difference, but it makes all the difference. So you need to have knowledge of the Arabic language. You need to have knowledge about the principles and foundation for the sciences, ulum al-Quran, ulum al-Hadith, and the grammar of Arabic language and so on. So that's why some of the ulama said, you shouldn't open this door to every lay person to study how to interpret the dreams. Okay, because they could end up abusing abusing the small knowledge they have. Some people, they learn a little bit and they think that they become too, they take advantage of that, they abuse it. They try to use it in the wrong way, they end up disobeying Allah subhanahu. So, so what are the tools of ta'bir? The tools of this explanation, explaining about the dreams. So there are certain tools, books, knowledge that will aid you in interpreting the dream. And those are two types. Some of them are the books about ilm al-ta'bir, some of the books about the science of dreams based upon Quran and Sunnah. And it could be other books as well that have some information about dreams within them. Okay? And the fuqaha of hadith, they used to as well compile, you can look to the books of hadith as well. So the books of hadith, they may have within them, they may not be about dreams, but they will have within them sections about the dreams. So for example, you might find in Sahih al-Bukhari, a section about interpreting of dreams, or about the dreams of the companions and so on. A section of that in Muwatta' Imam Malik. Okay, so you have two types of books. Some books are specifically about interpreting dreams, so you study from those or use those. And others you may need to refer to from the many various books of hadith, which have within them chapters about the dreams. Fathul Bari, Sharh Sahih al-Bukhari as well is another good one, because they will also add to those hadith in their own sharh even more explanation about them as well. And some of the ulama who wrote specifically about the dreams are people like Ibn Shaheen. He wrote Isharat fi ilm al-ibarat. Is a book specifically about the signs and symbolism in the sciences of explaining the dreams or interpreting the dreams. So you take from that book a lot of information. There is as well for Ibn Khaldun in his Muqaddimat, he wrote about the fuqaha of dreams in particular. Which fuqaha they wrote about the dreams in particular as well. People like Ibn Sirin as well. And I mentioned last time as well, Ibn Sirin was famous for writing about dreams as well. However, his books are not available. They never reached us. There are books floating around, called Tafsir al-Ahlam, the interpretation of the dreams, or Tafsir of the dreams, which people they attribute to Ibn Sirin, but it's not really his book. And many people they use it as some kind of like encyclopedia or dictionary of dreams, and this is wrong. This is not the way that you interpret dreams at all. Okay. In fact, some people they went as far as they refer to those books more than the books of ahkam and fiqh and and Quran and Sunnah even more. Another thing we need to learn about, I mentioned it before, I'll come back to it inshallah because I'm going to talk about it in more detail later on, but there are certain things that you need to find out about the person who had the dream as well. Okay, this is part of the framework of interpreting dreams. Okay, so there are different types of dreams we already mentioned as well. I don't want to repeat, inshallah. Okay, so the other thing that we need to understand is that interpreting the dream is a form of ijtihad. Okay, is a form of ijtihad. And that means that the first thing you need to do is you need to investigate the reality properly. That means investigating the person, and it means investigating the dream. Okay, investigating the dream. So the investigating the person includes to find out who the person is, because that makes a big difference. Is the person Muslim or not Muslim? Is the person a adult or a child? Are they married or are they unmarried? If they are married, how many wives do they have? Are they male or female? Okay, because the same dream could mean for a single man, he's going to get married. It could mean for a married man, he's going to get divorced. So it depends, what the situation is. If you find out how old they are they young or are they old? What is happening in their life? Are they expecting some sort of news? Are they expecting some sort of, something to happen? Are they waiting for something? Do they have certain intentions which Allah Ta'ala could be giving them news about? Because we said about the dreams, it is mubasharat, it is about glad tidings, about giving news, informing you about something. So if you are waiting for some sort of news, that it makes a big difference what type of mubasharat Allah is giving you, what it is that Allah might be explaining to you. You need to understand as well, uh, whether the person they are a scholar, knowledgeable, or if they're jahil. If they are fasiq or if they are fajr, or if they are somebody good person practicing Muslim, committed. If somebody has sins, they've been asking Allah for repentance. It could be that Allah has given them good news of accepting his tawbah. Or if somebody is not a sinner, not asking for repentance for something, but they are seeking shahada, maybe Allah give them the good news of the shahada. So it all depends on their own circumstance. Somebody in the battlefield is not the same as somebody in the da'wah field. And somebody in the da'wah field is not the same as somebody in the parliaments committing shirk. There's a big difference. So you need to, somebody in prison, not the same as somebody that's free. Allah could be giving glad tidings that you're going to be free from prison. But if you're not in prison, it's not going to have the same meaning. Okay, so this is the first thing, to investigate the person properly. And that is the first thing that most people, they neglect when they start to talk about interpreting dreams. They rush and they don't think actually about who the person is. Sometimes the dream as well is not about the person themselves. It could be about another person, in which case you need to investigate about the other person as well. Not only the person who had the dream, but the person they dreamed about, you need to find out about them as well. What was their situation? What could it mean about what was seen in the dream about them? Then you see what happened in the dream. Is there anything missing? Sometimes you need to question the person a little bit more, because sometimes people will hide something from the dream. If they hide something from the dream, you won't get the information. So you need to investigate more. You need to question them a bit. Make sure they didn't forget to tell you something. Maybe not. Maybe they're embarrassed about something. Maybe they want the dream to mean something, and so they tell it to you in a particular way. This is what you need to be careful about, because the matter of essentially is ghaib, between him and Allah, what he saw. Okay, in the dream. So it's very difficult. It's nothing you can verify. It's not like hadith. You can go back to the isnad. He is the isnad. That's it. It's him. So again, you need to know: is this person honest person, or are they a liar? Are they somebody who's known to lie or exaggerates? Is there somebody who, some people, they tell stories. They tell the story, 3 times, 3 different ways. The same story. The same story. Each time, it's so convincing. Wallahi, akhi, wallahi, is the truth. He goes fishing. He caught a fish, mashallah. Took hours, he caught a fish, mashallah, little fish. By the time he got home, it was this big. By the time he got back to the village, it's massive, this one. By the time the news reached his cousins, it is bigger than him. Now eventually it was a great white shark. It was Jaws itself. So you see, some people, they exaggerate. So if and you can notice that if they tell you the dream twice, and each time is different, you need to question. Can I really interpret this dream or not? Can I trust what he's told me? What he's told me in the first place. So you need to investigate what was the thing. And what was it? The first thing you want to check is it a nightmare or is it a good dream? Okay, so if it was something bad happened, if there's something bad in the dream, even if it looks like there could be some other symbolism, if there's something bad in the dream, you need to think maybe this was a nightmare. Okay, Jasoom, the nightmares from shaitan. Shaitan has no symbolism, has no meaning, no mubasharat in this one. So if they start to tell you something like this, and you notice that in the dream it actually is a nightmare, then you realize that there's no message in that. Rather, it's something they should keep quiet, not tell anybody else, and they should, ignore it. And they should maybe need to seek and find out, do they have any problem in their own home, making them have these nightmares? Maybe some jinn problem, maybe they have pictures on the walls that's letting the shayateen in, maybe there can be sins in the home, maybe something like this, but it's not going to be something with good news. So this another thing you need to check. Is there something bad in there? Somebody maybe they saw themselves committing adultery. Okay, even if they saw some other symbolism, they say, "Akhi, but then I saw, a tree. Allah mentions a tree in the Quran." Yeah, akhi, but it's a nightmare. This is a nightmare. It's not a good dream. It's a bad dream. Another one. So this is the other thing. Reason why you need to find out about the person. Because somebody says to you, I had a dream that I was, cutting down a tree and the tree fell. And when you find out, okay, what have you been up to for the last few days? Okay, I've been trying to cut this tree down in the garden and just not been falling all this time. Okay, you're just dreaming about your back garden, that's all. It's not, a special message. So again, you need to find out. If it's not nightmare, maybe it's a dream just about some whatever's going on. This was being mentioned in the hadith. It was called Adghaf al-Ahlam. Adghaf al-Ahlam is the one who has dreams about whatever he's been thinking about, whatever he's been worried about, or talking to himself about in his life. So then he became tired, and when you're tired and you'll be thinking about it all the time, you have a dream about it. Okay, not because Allah is sending you a message about it, but just because. So again, you know, you know, you check with the person. What have you been up to? What have you been busy with? Because if it looks like the dream is just about that, then perhaps there's no message in it at all. Okay, no message in it at all. But if there is a clear, some signs are more clear than others. So somebody has recitation of the Quran in his dream. Okay, in particular verses that he remembers the verse as well. Okay, this is a sign of something we should have meaning, some kind of meaning in this dream. He hears the adhan. Okay, some clear Islamic symbolism, something which has clear meaning. In the Sharia, they see that, or they hear that, or they experience that. Okay, or they see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If somebody sees Rasulullah, this needs to be verified as well, because not everybody says I saw Rasulullah actually saw Rasulullah. Okay, it's true, it's agreed that the shaitan can never impersonate Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But do you know what he looks like in the first place? For you to know because shaitan, if he impersonates somebody else and you thought it was Muhammad, maybe it wasn't Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam the prophet, maybe it was Muhammad the butcher down the road. Which Muhammad was it? So if we understand the description, because the description of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is found in the Sunnah, in the Hadith, because there are hadith about his description, what he looked like, his appearance. So the interpreter will have to speak to the person. What exactly did he hear? Describe to me, well, what did he look like? What did you see exactly? How did you know that he was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? If it is confirmed that he was describing him, then we know there's no way that it could be from shaitan, because the shaitan cannot impersonate Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So there's no way that that dream was from shaitan, if that was the case. It could be a good dream. And so then, we need to look to as well what was said, what his actually speech, or what the actions in the dream could be, or could be representing. There are other symbolisms. People pray salah in the dream. Somebody making wudu in the dream. So the wudu has certain symbolism. It means the security of their ilm. Okay, so the one sees himself making wudu in the dream. Depending on his circumstances, it could mean something else. If it has something else, some other circumstances, but it could mean for the talib ilm that the security in the ilm, that the place he's getting the knowledge from, is something which is secure, which is good. If perhaps if he's making the wudu and he's cut off, and he can't finish the wudu for some reason, then it could indicate that perhaps he's seeking knowledge from a good place, but then he's going to be cut off. Something's going to prevent him, going to be an obstacle for him. Won't be able to seek the knowledge anymore. Okay, this particular one I know because I had this dream. Okay, and then I went to prison afterwards. Yeah. But you see, these things, it could be simple. Jum'ah, Salatul Jum'ah, it is i'lan, is notification, it's a public announcement. So somebody waiting for public news, about something, it could be relating to that as well. It could be that kind of symbolism. Things such as the milk. The milk has a certain symbolism in Islam. Water as well. It could have symbolism. Somebody making ghusl in his dream, this could have symbolism as well. So each of these, they need to look to the revelation about how the symbolism works, what that symbolism is. Okay, and we don't have a lot of time, so I'll just look to one example, inshallah, to show you how Yusuf alayhi salam interpreted the dream of those people in the sijn, in the prison. Okay, so Yusuf alayhi salam in Surah Yusuf. Okay. I won't read through all the verses because there's quite a lot, inshallah. But one of the two men that were with Yusuf alayhi salam in the prison. In prison, by the way, people see a lot of dreams in prison. They see a lot of dreams in prison because of the hardship and sacrifice. It seems to happen a lot. So the two men with Yusuf alayhi salam. Alhamdulillah. One of them saw a dream that he was pressing wine. He was making wine. Okay, and the other one said that he was carrying bread on his head, and birds were eating from it. Okay, they were eating it. So they said, "Look, tell us what these dreams mean." So Yusuf alayhi salam, he first gave them da'wah, and this is part of the adab. You see, this is the sunnah. Sometimes people may come to you with a dream, and you could tell from there. That's why when you investigate the person, see who they are. Oh, there's somebody mushrik, somebody worshipping graves, somebody worshipping. The first thing you could do is take the opportunity to give them da'wah. Tell them about tawheed. That's what Yusuf alayhi salam did. Before I tell you about the dream, let me tell you about tawheed. So this is the way the da'i. Everything is an opportunity for da'wah. He doesn't wait in the corner waiting for somebody to come up to him and say, "Tell me about Islam." No, he makes the opportunity. Whatever the person is going through, whatever is going on in their life, he links it. You lost your job. Your job seeks allowance. In Islam is much better system than what you have in the UK. In the Sharia, Allah Subhanahu said that the state should be given free for food, clothing, shelter. That's the Sharia of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. It's because it's the law, divine law, not man-made laws. So you can give da'wah to anybody, whatever the situation. This is what Yusuf alayhi salam. The first thing he did, he gave them da'wah and called them to tawheed. Then he said to them, "Ya sahibay as-sijn," he said, "Oh, my two companions of the prison, amma ahadukuma," he said, "As for one of you, you will be pouring wine for your king, to drink." Mean he's going to be out of prison, because this is the situation. Somebody sitting in prison, he hears you're going to be working in the palace for the king. Alhamdulillah, I don't care. Even if he's a slave, he doesn't care. I'm not in prison anymore. So he's told, "Look, you're going to be pouring the wine for the king. Okay, you're going to be freed." And the other one, not so good news. The other one, you're going to be crucified. And you're going to be killed. And the birds are going to eat from your head. That's what's going to happen. And obviously it happened just as he said. So the one who's going to be going to the king, Yusuf alayhi salam, he took the advantage to, "Look, tell your Lord about me." And obviously, we know the story, he forgot. When he remembered finally, it's because the king had a dream. And the dream of the king was another one that Yusuf alayhi salam interpreted. So the dream of the king was, he said that I saw 7 fat cows. Okay? سبع بقرات سمان. I saw 7 fat cows. Okay? And it was 7 skinny cows were eating them. And I saw 7 green ears of corn and 7 others that were dry. Okay? And so he was asking everybody, "Explain to me my dream." Everybody, whoever could interpret a dream, and nobody could do it. Nobody could give anyone. Okay? And they said that they were not skilled in interpreting. Until Yusuf alayhi salam. So Yusuf alayhi salam explained the dream. He said that you're going to have 7 years, you're going to have 7 years, consecutive years, one after the other, that you're going to continue to sow seed, and you're going to have harvest, and you're going to leave all of it in the ears of the grain, the corn. You're going to leave them in their own ears, except for little that you might eat. So meaning you're going to have a lot of that left over. And then after that, you're going to have 7 very difficult years in which you're going to eat everything that you kept, you stored. So this is the first time he said you're going to make corn as normal, but you're going to hold on to it. You're not going to eat it. You're going to eat a little bit and you're going to keep it. Then you're going to have 7 long years after that, which you have hardly any harvest. Difficult, whether drought or whatever reason, you're not going to have any food. So because you stored it up for 7 years before, you'll be eating from that. You're going to eat from those, that stored food for the next 7 years after that. Okay. So this was the interpretation. Obviously, and that was, to have that kind of information is very, very useful. To know in advance you're going to have 7 years of difficulty, so you know to save up for it. It's very good. Otherwise, you can eat it all, or spend it all, or sell it all, and it's too late. So this was very beneficial to the king, and the king obviously freed Yusuf alayhi salam and put him in charge of the grain to manage it for the people, so they're able to prepare for those years of difficulty. He said, and in the rest of the dream, he said, after that, there's going to come a year in which people will have a lot of rain, and they're going to be able to press wine and oil and a lot of other things as well. So this was, the interpretation of Yusuf alayhi salam of the dream. So you can see the symbolism. It had some kind of parable, the way Allah Ta'ala gives parables in the Quran. So this is a summary. Obviously, we're not going to complete like a 1 year course, proper full course on the dreams. We're not going to go through all the hadith, but this gives you an idea, inshallah, of how ahkam of interpreting dreams they are, what they're based upon, how to go about it, and how it's very difficult. And if anything, the first thing you probably learn is that I probably shouldn't be interpreting dreams. Okay, this is one of the first thing that I learned after studying it as well. Is that okay? Next time I hear a dream, let me hold back. So this is the summary, inshallah, for today. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.